Alright, let's face it, as millennials, we're financially screwed. And it's safe to say that by this age, we're supposed to be the ones financially figuring out our lives, except we're not. Today's 40-year-olds own half the wealth of the older generations when they were the same age. And what this means is if we were to compare the wealth of older generations compared to the millennials, well, we're severely lower. Now, depending on how you look at it, you can try and compare that the average wealth might actually be the same, but when you take things into consideration like inflation, interest rates, and the current economy, well, there's a big difference. Even Robert Kiyosaki talked about this generational difference.
Then you have Gen X, and these are estimates. It's estimated that all they had was about 15% of the economy at age 35. And you guys, millennials, it's estimated that you guys will own less than 3%. Is that when I started looking into what's going on with the boomers, I have this to say to all of you, which is from my point of view as a boomer, is you guys are, watch my lips.
So with Gen X and baby boomers holding all the comparative wealth, millennials have been caught in this financial dip. And if you think that's how it's going to be for all generations after millennials, that's not the case. The newer generations like Gen Z are actually saving more money than millennials ever did. And statistically, if you were to break down the different generations, Gen Z saves an average 14%, while millennials and baby boomers and Gen Xers saved on average 12%. See, they have our mistakes and our guidance to learn from. And I mean, that's good for them, but it's just further proof that millennials are just in this weird gap. And many of us started working right when the Great Recession hit, and it seems like every year since, something worse is happening. But I want to talk about what you can do to escape the rat race. But first, let me tell you, it's not too late to take your finances seriously today. The first thing you need to do is start now. Even if you have $0 in your bank account and you're living paycheck to paycheck like most people are. See, knowing where you are is actually your first step. And you can do this by calculating your net worth. Now, all you need to do is add all of your assets together and minus your liabilities. And if you were to compare this by age group, the net worth of millennials is $135,000. But like I talked about earlier, don't let all these numbers scare you, because a majority of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And as much as you want to kick yourself for being behind, you can't, because the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. But when you do start saving and investing, you can't just do it financially. See, you need to invest in yourself as well. See, in order to earn a high income, you need to learn skills that are useful and valued. Now, I made a video about the top sectors that you can learn today even without having a degree, but your main source of income is going to be the primary agency that you're going to use to build wealth today. Now, the next step is going to be take care of your debt. Remember, anything holding a negative balance over your head where you're continuously paying interest that you can't afford is bad. And the best position that you can put yourself in for managing debt is making sure that you have something like a credit card that you're never paying interest on, because you're paying it off at the end of each month. But credit cards are a double-edged sword. If you're unable to pay them off monthly, it's time to cut them up. For now, it's time to stick to the Dave Ramsey no debt policy. A terrible situation is you continuously using your credit cards and using them unwisely just to keep yourself down the rabbit hole. Check out Pocket Watching with JT. He's a CFP and he even made a free debt-free course. Now, this next tip I know you've heard before, but it's gonna be stick to your budget. But even though we've heard this one time and time again, a majority of Americans don't have a budget. In fact, even in major surveys, at least 65% of Americans say they have no idea on how much they spent last month. But a way to help out with this is that you don't have to keep a super detailed budget. It could literally be on a sticky note and you can honestly get it done within 5 minutes. All you need to do is track how much money you made and how much money you spent. You don't need the details of directly where the money's going. All you need is the overall source. See, if you do this at the end of each month, this will give you a great picture to figure out what you're doing right or wrong. But if you want to step up this basic budget, all you have to do is write out the line items and where you think your money's going and where you want it to go. But make sure to use realistic expectations. There's so many times where people will put down $60 a month on gas when they know they honestly spend $100 or even $200. And there's even basic budgeting tools like Mint, and they'll do all of this for you. But the most important part of a budget is make sure you follow up with it. And I recommend to do this at least once a month at the end of a month, but at a bare minimum quarterly, because a budget isn't something that you plan on doing for your New Year's resolution. It's something that you need to stick to and hold yourself accountable. Now, this next one's gonna be a little tricky, but I think you need to use your credit to your advantage. Now, earlier I talked about staying out of debt, but this is mainly if you can't use it to your advantage and you're drowning in it. See, debt is a great tool that you can use for its advantages. See, if you're a responsible spender and you only buy the things that you need and you're not a compulsive shopper, well, then credit cards are great. But like this double-edged sword, if you're unable to make the monthly payments and you're always finding yourself paying interest off on the card, well, cut it up. See, with credit cards, you can get cash back, reward points, and it even comes with additional protection layers. And one of the biggest perks that comes with it that I love the most is fraud protection. I've had my debit card information stolen from me and my bank account was nearly locked for 2 weeks. And when the same thing happened with my credit card, it was nearly handled within the hour. But see, I think too many people are afraid of credit. Building up a great credit history is something that you're going to need for the future. See, understanding the bank's money and using it to your advantage is a complete different level. And this is where I don't agree with Dave Ramsey on everything.
I do the way I live my life for the last 30 plus years now since I went broke is I don't borrow money. Period. For anything ever.
See, not everyone has around $400,000 sitting in their bank account to just buy a house. So having a good credit history and a good credit score is nearly mandatory. But if you still don't believe in credit, you're going to need it for renting out that apartment or buying that house or getting that job that needs a security clearance. But at the end of the day, all of this can be wrapped up with live within your means. And just like struggling to follow your budget, one of the biggest downsides that we have as millennials is social media and trying to compare ourselves to everyone else. See, older generations didn't have this problem. They were just disconnected and they were going about their daily lives. And what this means at times is that we get hit with this consumeristic information overload and we just always get wrapped up in everyone else's Instagram lifestyles. See, we get so wrapped in this that we think that this is a normal life, except it's not. No one lives a perfect life. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, most people have nothing in their savings account, and most people have no retirement plan. But if you want more help, check out these videos for more money tips and let me know down in the comments below if there's any other topics you want me to talk about next.
Is you guys are, watch my lips.